Why, hello YouTube! Greetings from the LazyEyebrowReviewer to a review that's 2 years too late. This is a review for Xtransbots MX1 or MXI, though I'm pretty sure it's MX1 Apollyon. I figure with all the hype starting the MP36, what better time to get on that review for that figure I've been putting off, right? So first things first, I know I never covered these things, but it is worth noting, check out this box. All black and dark and commanding and monkey puzzling. But this is just a sleeve. Pull that off and you get this big black box that opens like a book for all that visual glory that is seeing your toy before you buy it. And how cool is this? Haven't seen something like this since, well, a few weeks ago when I got Legends Chrome Dome. Anyway, let's get on with the figure. But let's switch things up and start with the alt mode. And for that, stop motioning is clear out of the question. Apollyon turns into a pretty faithful Walther P38. It's silver, it's got a working trigger, a movable safety switch, and an orange barrel plug that grants you the ability to not get shot at if you're stupid enough to take this figure to a public place. But wait! That's not all! He comes with other accessories too, like everything you see here before you. To use them, simply put the extended barrel together, add a tip, remove safety plug, apply a gun barrel. Take end of stock, connect to middle of stock, connect to beginning of stock, and then slide that over the butt end of the gun handle and you're done. Now here we have it, the full kit and caboodle. I think that's the really nice thing about Apollyon here. Out of the 3 third-party Masterpiece Megatrons, he's the only one that gets this look. The whole package to look like this, without extra bits for another supplier like MPO5 had to have. Actually, this ends up being a theme here with Apollyon. Apollyon, aside from the official which just released, is the only Megatron jam-packed with all sorts of references and nods and goodies that you don't get with anyone else. Too bad all of that couldn't save it from decreasing in value. Anyway, I like the full alt mode here. It reminds you of that tiny Megatron that came with Masterpiece Soundwave and Masterpiece Prime. It's also great if you want to sit in your window looking like a crazy old man pretending to shoot out the tires of random passerbys on the highway outside your apartment building. But I like not getting the police called on me, so I don't really do this. Anyway, that was gun mode. Not much to say about it really. However, what I do have much to say about is the transformation. Because this figure alone, for this review, had as many frames as Titan's Return 6-shot. And that was a long one. So, oh boy, here we go. Spin around the scope, slide the connector peg into the sideways position, lift up the scope plate, rotate the whole thing around, and fold it down. Check the clearance of everything, and if it's good, then pull the top part away from the bottom part like so. Fold these little sections up on both sides, and swing around these little plates on either side. Swing around the gun barrel, put the whole assembly up, over, and down, pull out the head, and if you're like me and have it turned around prior to transforming it because you thought it fit in better, then go ahead and spin it around. Fold in the top plate, close up the back paneling, and rotate the gun barrel. Swing out and then rotate down this little piece of plastic that helps cover up the back. Split apart the back of the gun, and then swing the right arm joint around while simultaneously counterswinging the left arm joint the other direction. That is really hard to explain, so you're just going to have to go off the visuals. After you get the arms as far forward as they can go, pull out these white shoulder locking positions, and rotate the shoulder joints into position. For the arms, rotate the hands out, and then fold the lower plate in. The upper plate gets rotated around, and then folded in to fill out the arm and bulk it up to boot. Then, extend the elbow joint. On the shoulder, fold up the plate and slide it back to tidy up the upper arm. And then marvel at the fact that this guy's a Gunator. Look at him, in all his majesty. Half man, half gun. Anyway, to finish the other half, split apart the gun handle. Detach and spin around the chrome front plate, rotate the end in, fold half of it over, and then fold the whole thing down. From there, free up the foot from its couple of slots and pegs. On the back of the leg, rotate this section around until it slots up there. Then, on the separate rocker hinge, move the whole thing up. Next, slide out the front of the handle, rotate down the upper piece, and then swing that piece up and out of the way. On the foot, open the plate on the side of the foot, swing around the front toe, and rotate the back of the heel, and close up the side paneling. Extend the leg, which will make room for the heel to slide up. And lastly, we come to the waist. Split apart the area where the trigger was. You can see where the trigger itself rests up in there to allow for the spring-loaded effect. Anyway, after that, collapse the rest of the trigger area, On the front, rotate the silver area down, pull out the extra tabs from either side, and then rotate the whole assembly down, and then swing the waste pieces around and peg them in. And finally, after all that, here is the best looking oh wait, 1 second. There we go. The best looking third-party Megatron out there. He's big and chunky and chromed out like the toy was, and to some extent the cartoon was in a way, and we'll just leave it there. We won't talk about it. Hey, where you going? Hey, stop, please don't go down there. Oh, alright, I'll review the whole figure. This area here, this is what ruins it for me. After a beautiful, though complicated transformation of the upper body, and the way things lock together to make one solid unit, we get to the legs, and boy, have they gone and mucked it up. On the one hand, it's nice and bulky and nowhere near the length that was MPO5. On the other hand, the mess these legs become is nothing short of appalling. We just have layers and layers of kibble. Literally. That's like 2 or 3 layers of kibble right here. I mean, look at the torso. This is easily the cleanest masterpiece Megatron back I have ever seen. The trigger folds up nicely, nothing is really out of place, it all looks great. And then you hit the legs and it's like, what in the world happened here? I know this might sound hypocritical considering I ragged on everyone for complaining about MP22's butt flap, but this guy's different in the sense that this kibble travels the whole way around Apollion's legs, and no angle that you view them makes them look any good. What's even more surprising is that the legs only get worse from here. Look at this guy, he's tall, he's made of plastic and metal, he's certainly no lightweight, which begs the question why the designers thought that supporting this guy on 2 itty-bitty pins for ankles was a grand idea. Not to mention the fact that the pegs on the hips are practically useless, which makes posing his left leg near impossible without having to fix him. Let's look at the upper torso. Ah, that's better. Look at how great that looks. Look at this and forget the problems. While we're on that subject, articulation. Head is on a post that in itself is a hinge, so you get a spin with up and down movement. The shoulders are ball jointed for 360 degree movement. I've heard a lot of issues with holding a pose of these arms is present, but I've never had an issue. Even so, Xtransbots was kind enough to include shoulder fixes and a screwdriver if you're so inclined. Shoulders move out. They feel like they should be more, as it looks like panels should move out of the way, but they don't, and I can live with that. Elbows bend 130 degrees, more than ample room for your most dynamic poses. Bicep swivel, wrist rotation, and articulated finger with not 1, not 2, but 3 points of movement. Color me impressed. The thumb itself only has 2 points, but that's okay, so does mine. This makes for poses like pointing and the Spider-Man all possible. Waist rotation, flaps move out of the way, great if you want to pull off the Monroe. Legs move out, backwards, and forwards. Thigh rotation, knee bend, and extreme ankle tilt with forward and backward movement. See, it's not that he doesn't have incredible articulation, it's just that it's not the best way to go about achieving it. Regardless, incredible poses like this, and whatever this pose is, and push-ups, because they're necessary for robots to do, nothing like building metal mass, basically they're all possible. Other features to his mode include tabs on his arms for Laserbeak to perch himself like he does on Soundwave, because unlike some people, he can actually perch on Megatron's arm. On his chest, he has 2 opening doors. On the left side, one door opens to reveal his spark. That's actually pretty cool. If you're someone like Harris Lorio, you can use this for some pretty sweet imagery and stop-motion animations. The other door opens and features a removable little plug to swap out for the Cosmic Rust Asteroid. As cool as this is, the swap-out peg is super easy to lose. And aside from this review, I'm never ever going to swap these plates. Another accessory is the swinging ball and chain. Rotating the hand around showcases the slot for this to slide over. Except, it's stupid long, and I thought the mace was dumb anyway, so another accessory I'll never use. Personally, I think he should have had the laser sword from the beginning because that thing is cool. Another thing he gets is the stray blaster that Megatron found lying on the ground and uses to finish off Optimus. And if none of that suits you, go ahead and get a mind control helmet and just make fun of him with your very own replica behind his back. Sadly, this helmet doesn't fit Starscream for piloting his own facsimile of himself, but what can you do? The key to Vector Sigma is included in case you wanted to build some Stunticons. The barrel and stock all come apart, and they make a turret firing thingy that I think maybe got 1 scene in all of Season 1, I think. For size comparison, Masterpiece Starscream and Soundwave. Personally, I think MP11 should be a head taller than what he is, which would make him just about Soundwave's height. Shorter than Megatron, but not by too much. But it's not, and it never will be. Oh well. Otherwise, I like Soundwave's height. And lastly, MP10. This is a scale height I actually really enjoy. Apollyon is still technically taller, but only by about a forehead, which is awesome. I've always thought these two should be roughly the same height. I also don't understand when people prefer a whole head taller like Hegemon and Classics Prime, but to each their own, really. So that was the review for Unofficial Masterpiece Megatron. Is he an amazing figure? Absolutely. Head looks great, chest looks incredible, I love the arms, the waist looks good, he comes with a whack load of accessories, more so than the official that just released, but sadly it's the legs that make this guy fall apart of just short of incredible. Even with the amazing upper body, and being the only one out of the three with all of these extras that just make up play value, the legs all by themselves have made the intrinsic value of this guy plummet. What was once a $160 masterpiece type figure has now dropped significantly on the aftermarket. If you're the customizing kind of collector, like I tend to be, and you're trying to make the decision of which Megatron to go for, then this is actually great news for you. Because even with all its flaws, I would still recommend this. But only if you're the kind of person who can fix the ankles, as all the accessories kind of make the lower price point way worth it. And you get a sweet looking Megatron from the waist up. As for me though, I'm saving up for the official. Same accessories but with better joints which are great for animating. Makes for a more stable figure. And once that arrives, well then this guy is getting sold as soon as possible. This has been the Lazy Eyebrow Reviewer.